Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the True North Morning Show. I'm your host, Scott, and right now my co-host, the OG cigar tender. He is not here currently right now. He might join us a little bit later. But today we have a very special guest, Mario from Casa Caraballo. I have a utmost respect for this man. He's been in the industry for a long, long time. And for him to be able to give a perspective of his background, where he's been, where he's going in the future, what he saw overcome, if that makes sense. So without further ado, Mr. Mario Caraballo himself.
Hey,
Good morning, sir. How you doing today?
good morning. How are you? What's going
I'm
on?
doing fantastic.
Guess what I'm lighting up this morning? Uh, I got this thing called the Compass Rose, some weird ass cigar that somebody sent me in Illinois. It's the looks like an Habano wrapper.
Either that's the Habano or that's the Maduro.
This is the Habano.
The Habano, yes, the Ecuadorian wrapper.
So
George.
first draw, no bitterness, very smooth. You've done something good here. So
Thank you very much.
just want to let you know that it's well constructed, beautiful oily wrapper. So congratulations, buddy.
Thank you very much. With that, congratulations. I want to say congratulations to you as well, because yes, I'm smoking the Compass Rose, my cigar, but that's just a starter. But I love your cigars,
Oh, silverback.
the Silverback.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I will be smoking this in a little bit later in the show and all that. But I wanted you to be able to talk about it and how did you come up with the Silverback and why? But first, before you get into it, could you tell the public a little bit of your background and who you were and where you came from?
So I'm under a typical product of immigration, thanks to this great nation we live in, the United States of America. Uh, I come from a background of Cuban ancestry. My father was a political activist in Cuba, so he spent a lot of time in and out of jail fighting Castro against communism, socialism, whatever you want to classify it as. I call it oppression. So it doesn't matter how it's disguised, it's oppression. And we were fortunate enough that the United States granted us asylum. So yes, I'm an immigrant, I'm a refugee, I'm an alien, I'm all those things, right? And I'm very proud of that. And most important, you come to this great country and you realize that the opportunities here are just unbelievable. But if you distract yourself, you miss that point, and you realize that it's like any other place, but it's not. America gives anybody an opportunity to become whatever they want to become, and I was fortunate enough to have that opportunity. So I landed in Miami uh, in the late '60s, early '70s. Went to high school there. I realized really soon that uh, working the fields, being a dishwasher, a busboy, working in a kitchen, none of that stuff was going to get me to where I wanted to go, you know. And I joined the army at age 17, and one of the best decisions I ever made as a young kid, 17-year-old kid. You're still a kid when you're 17. You don't realize.
Right.
And joined the Army, 11 Bravo, infantry, paratrooper, went to the 82nd Airborne Division, and started grinding, and realized all of a sudden that the Army had unlimited opportunities, and I took advantage of them. I went to school at night when everybody was out screwing around. I got my college degree, and I grinded there. Yeah. And then ended up down in the 7th Special Forces Group, doing that for the other half of my career,
Okay.
and retired 22 years, and
Congrats.
then went to work for the special program that DOD has for counterterrorism. I did that for another 11 years. I got burned out going back and forth to Afghanistan and Iraq and Europe. And then I got out, became a project manager, and started doing something different, which was good mentally for me. Mental health is important for us veterans who are out there listening. And so that was good because I kind of got away from all that war fighting mentality type bullshit and started becoming more of a normal citizen, right? In the sense that I'm not in the grind every day. I'm doing different challenges, dealing with different people that are not military. So it could be difficult and it could not.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, and I did really well. I ended up being a deputy director for an office and had a good Marine boss who said, "Hey, you got potential, man. Why don't you become a senior executive?" And I go, "Man, who's gonna hire this Cuban to be a senior executive and stuff? You got it all, Mario. You just got to go out there and start, you know, uh, basically making those tickets, right?"
Right.
And the selected in the senior service, you have to take a lot of hardship assignments. So you become a deputy director. That's a higher grade, higher responsibility, no pay, right? You got to do that for a year or two. Then you take a directorship or an administration position, another year, hardship, no pay. So you're proving yourself, right? And while you're doing that, you're going to school to learn all the leadership things that at the executive level has to learn, which is a lot of policy stuff, national security stuff, emergency stuff, emergency response. So I did that. I went to Penn State, did their executive leadership program, graduated from that. Then went to American University, did another one that was required. Then I did the actual government SCS program, which is a year long. So
Yeah.
3 years in the grind. Applied for about 60 positions. Nobody called, you know. And then one day I got a phone call. "Hey, you got an interview." So I went to that interview. It was with NASA and Office of Homeland Security, and great interview. Learned a lot. Good people there. But I already knew who was going to get that job. You know, I knew the guy. He's a former OSI agent, friend of mine, retired colonel, and the right guy for the job too. So, but it was a good experience for me, and that kind of gave me a little more confidence that, hey, I could swim in this pool with these people, right?
Absolutely.
I could speak their language and I could maneuver and I bring a lot of skills that they don't have, basically in the leadership realm. So I kept grinding, man. I ended up being a deputy administrator of Homeland Security, and did that for 2 or 3 years, and then I decided to call it quits due to I had cancer and a lot of all that stuff we've been exposed to started catching up to me. So I had stage 4 cancer. I survived that, and right after I retired, I got a call from an old 7th Group boss. He goes, "Hey, I need you in Nicaragua. We got a crisis down there. We're going back now 2018, and Nicaragua's in flames. There's a couple of American companies down there that needed to extricate some of their expats." So I got on a plane and went down there, and we worked out a plan, and we got these people out. And we thought it was going to be a 1 week thing. Ended up being a 3-year mission. You know, so I made good money. That's where the 828 comes from, and started working down there. And I always been involved with cigars since I was little. My father was a roller in Cuba. He used to sell penny cigars in the streets. My grandfather smoked cigars all his life. He had many stores all over Cuba, all over the countryside. He smoked. You'll see his Guayabera with the cigars on there. I mean, just like the movies, man. So every Cuban family was like that in those days. And and I always wanted to be in the cigar industry. I just you can't afford it. I was dirt poor and you just can't afford it. And so I'm in Nicaragua, and I started exploring uh, the potential possibilities. I started visiting all these factories. You know, most of them are all full of shit, corrupt. They want to take your money. Uh, and these are Cubans also that I'm talking to, which makes it even worse, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, these are my own countrymen, right? And they're trying to bullshit you and give you because they think you're stupid. You know, minimum 100,000 cigars because I'm related to AJ Fernandez. Oh, fuck you! I don't care about that. You know, you know. I don't have $100,000 to give you just so you can make 100,000 cigars. Which 100,000 cigars ends up being like $250,000 depending on the price of that cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So I kept knocking on doors, and about the third trip up to Esteli, I got lucky. I ran into Papito Gomez, who's one of the most humble, beautiful human beings in the cigar industry. And basically, he's an unknown. But his cigars are second to none. Every cigar that comes out of that factory is a gem. And it's because, excuse me, it's because how he does things. And of course, Papito and I go back to Cuba. He
Right.
worked at the Robina factory for years. So he's got that mentality, that process. So I sat down with him and I said, "Hey man, I want to do a small batch, and I don't want to spend $50,000, $60,000. I want to start out with, you know, good 10,000 cigars. And he says, get back to me next week. I'm busy right now, but let's see what we could do. So
Well,
luckily, he called back and I went back and he said, okay, let's do that. Let's work on your cigars. And I said, well, I have some old blends here that you probably familiar with that we need to just retouch and see if we can make it work. So we started playing, and the first cigar was not the 828 Silverback. It was the 828 Oscuro, which is like a Maduro, right?
right.
So we started playing with that, and we made like about 20 different blends out of that. And of course, we tried them all, and we gave them out to people to try to come back with some feedback. And it wasn't what we wanted. Neither I wanted it or he wanted it. It was just, we still, and the second time around, I said, okay, here it is. It's perfect. And the ones prior that we made didn't have any Sumatra in it, and then we put a little Sumatra in it, and that was like boom. This changed the whole
Profile of it instantly.
the whole complexity of that cigar. And so we made some of those, and I let them sit for about 20 days. I mean, I smoked them right after they were done, and they were good. So I said, imagine 20 days from now, what are we going to get? And well, it ended up being the number 2 cigar for 2021 for Ash Quarterly magazine. Which for being a small guy like me, that's a nice pat on the back. But most important, pat on the back for Papito, who helped me get it done, right?
Well, I wanted to ask you, well, before you go, my number one thing is, first of all, thank you for your service.
Thanks, man.
Being part of the Army, just like my co-host OG and all that, he was also in the Army. I was Navy. But second of all, what was, when you were blending, when you were talking with Pepito and all that, what was that experience like? Because not a lot of people get to know what that experience is like when you're going through different, blends and how you do it.
Yeah, well, everybody does their own thing. We basically were in the warehouse, and we were just grabbing 2 or 3 leaves, rolling it together, and smoking it raw like that, right? And we would say, okay, this is good. So we put that aside. And then we grabbed two or three other, and we started with five, you know. And he said, okay, we could work with this, but it's real simple. Just walking down the line, grabbing a couple wrappers, a couple of fillers, putting them together, really raw, right there, light it up, and then we grab all the product and we go to the factory, we actually make a cigar, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but blending is a beautiful experience when you take your time. You see all these big factories coming out with a new cigar every year, you know, and they could do that because not only do they have the money, but they have the people to do that, right?
Right.
But those cigars that come out every year, you know, you get a lot of misinformation. You know, oh, this cigar has been aged for 17 years, 18 years. You know, okay, you know, a lot of people believe that. A lot of people who know the industry knows that there are very few cigar companies that have good aged cigar. You know, uh, because you just can't let that stuff sit there. It's money. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so you take the big guys. Some of the big guys do that because they have the money and they can afford to do that. You know, luckily Papito is one of those guys that has batch of age tobacco, not only wrappers but fillers. Uh, and the reason he does is because he makes the biggest boutique brand in Canada, which is Havana Castle. And
Okay.
if you ever try one of those cigars, you realize, wow, these are great cigars. And I mean, they buy millions of dollars worth of cigars from me every year in Canada. Because the guy who owns Havana Castle owns like 26 stores in Canada, one in the UK. So
Okay.
so that's one of his primary customers. You know? And then in the process, he's come out with several what I call exclusive cigars that you don't see here in the United States because they all go to Canada. They all end up in Canada, sadly.
Okay.
Sadly, because you know it takes a lot of money to open up a big distribution network in the United States, and Papito doesn't have that kind of money. He's a hardworking man, and he's doing well, but he doesn't have all that supply chain, right?
Right. Yeah.
You know that's critical. So we the United States miss out on some of those cigars, but I decided to bring his cigars to America, which is made at his factory, and so far every cigar I've made with him has been the top performer, not only in sales but the feedback I get from people, right? And to me,
Right.
that listen, I'm never going to get rich over this stuff. Not after what happened to me with my ex-partner who crushed the company, and I had to start from scratch. So I know I'm never going to get rich from this, but I'm thriving to continue to make good cigars. Uh, I don't care if I sell 20 boxes a year or if I sell 20,000 boxes a year. Numbers are not my thing as far as what my metric is. As long as I make a good cigar and I sell to maybe 5 stores, 6 stores, 10 stores, the stores who are lucky to have my cigars, and I'm lucky that they accept my cigars, then I'm satisfied with that, right? And then if the opportunity comes and it's time to go big, and then we'll take that risk, But right now it's I'm rebuilding, and that's one of the reasons I invested in the lounge, because the lounge eventually is going to start giving me some money to continue to do this, right?
Mm-hmm. Where are you located at exactly in the lounge?
So the lounge is in Davie, Florida, which is right in Fort Lauderdale area.
Okay.
So I'm fortunate that area there's got a lot of retired people. They all used to be orange growers, construction guys, law
Mm-hmm.
enforcement, first responders, very loyal customer base, right? And that's the one thing that keeps the lounge really going. And after we did the renovation and we brought in We have over 130 facings right now inside the humidor.
That's
So
awesome.
we've taken the traditional legacy stuff that was being sold every day and introduced all this other new stuff that these people were aware that was out there but never wanted to try, right? Because it's easy to it's not easy to change, you know. So we've cured the humidor our way for them so they can try different stuff, and we've been very successful. They've responded very very amiably, and they enjoy the new cigars that we bring in, and a lot of them are boutique cigars, you know. And because not everybody has boutique cigars, and a lot of people today want new things. They don't want the same old thing.
Correct.
We know who they are. We know how
Hmm.
expensive they are. You know, we know how everybody kisses their ass. You know what I mean? Because it makes you feel good to be taking a picture next to so and so. And hey, that's fine. That's fine. We small guys can't lose. We got to keep our eye on the bubble. You know what I mean? And not worry about that. Worry about, man, you have 5 good customers. That's better. That's better than 0 customers, right?
Absolutely, it
You
is.
know? So hey, so
Agreed.
that's my philosophy. Take care of the customers I have, work with them. Uh, I help anybody I can, give advice to anybody I can. Uh, I don't expect anything in return. That's just who I am. And when I go into a store and I sell my stick, I always tell them, "Have you tried this other cigar from this other boutique company? Have you tried this other company? Have you?" And I said, "I'll put you in contact with those guys, and then let those guys come in and do their thing. So, so that's kind of like my track right now, where I'm headed. And this past year at PCA was a flop. Went to PCA. We brought in 3 new facings: the Tampena, Donello, and the Apache, and everybody came in and smoked them, and they loved them. And I follow up with 36 companies, and none of them wanted to buy. You
Hmm.
know, uh, and that's part of the problem we have with retailers, right? You know, retailers are our best friend and our worst enemies, because a lot of retailers have no idea what they're doing.
Very
They're
true.
retired. They get a cigar shop because, hey, I'm retired. I want to have a cigar shop, but they don't know how to maintain that humidor. They don't know how to bring new stuff in. They don't know how to market their stores, right? And keep their clientele engaged in the process, right? And that's what we try to do at Smoking Daddies. We ask our customers every day, what do you want that we don't have,
That's
right?
what I was going to ask you. Is that, I love your inspiration and your story because again, I highly respect because you've been in the industry for a very, very long time. And what would you say that the biggest pros and cons are in the cigar industry that people don't talk about and that people don't know about?
So, the one thing we have that's very positive, we have we have a group of people that lobby for us in Congress, right?
Hmm.
So, of course, they don't lobby specifically for you and me, but we're the beneficiaries of that because
Right.
we sell cigars. So those people are. It's called the PCA, by the way. Those people are instrumental uh, because they're lobbying for the big guys, the multi-million-dollar companies. But the results they get affect everybody down the line. And last year they won a big case where the judge said, "Hey, the FDA is full of crap. Cigars are not cigarettes. You know, get out of here." The FDA, and this is where government is not effective, right? So we need government. You got to have government for infrastructure, emergency response. You need that. People who criticize government for that, they live in a messed up world. You need government
Right.
because society as a whole is crazy, and you need You need structure. You need a process, right? You're in the Navy. There's certain things in the Navy that you got to go by the book, because if you don't,
Yep.
somebody's going to fall off that ship and die. So that's simple.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so these guys at PCA, they do a lot of work for us, so we benefit from that, and that's important. You know, and a lot of people don't realize that because they work behind the scenes. Then you have this smaller agency called BCA, Boutique Cigar Association, which last year grew a little more than before, because we all came together and went out to the PCA in our own pavilion. So cosmetically, that was beautiful. We're all in one area. From a monetary perspective, it was a failure for a lot of us. Even the people who got to sell, they didn't sell enough. You know what I mean? To even pay for the trip, the reservation for the space, blah blah blah. So, but those are risks you take in business. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we planted the flag, and that was good. And guys continue to support that. I'm not going out there this year because I went out there last year and I spent $20,000, and I didn't sell anything out there. I sold after the fact, right? So why go out there, spend all that money, not sell anything, and then have to play catch up, right? So this year I'm not going to go. I'm going to continue to grind, visit stores, and talk to the owners and try to get my stuff out there. My man here in New York's been helping me out with some of the little lounges up there, and so that's a 6-hour drive for me. So it's easy to say, well, if they don't buy anything, I'm not going to go. Well, if you don't go, you're not going to know if they're going to buy your stuff, right?
Right.
So you got to show your stuff. You got to take that risk. And normally when you show up to a new shop and they bring in their clientele, they buy your stuff, and then they keep ordering if it's good stuff. The key thing is for that lounge to promote that brand, and a lot of loungers don't do that. So what we do at Smoking Daddies is, oh, you like Plasencia? Yeah, we have Plasencia. Here it is. And while we're in there in the humidor with you, I say, hey, take a look around you. You see something here that you like, or something that you never seen before? And they go, yeah, what's this? Oh, this is Casa Caraballo. This is Compass Rose. This is Conscience Cigar. This is GTO. This is Ilusione. This is, So we introduce them to all these new brands that are there.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of selling them just one Plasencia, they walk out with 2 cigars, right? And now you sold 2 cigars instead of 1. And if that person likes it, they're going to come back and buy it again. It normally happens. So just by doing that, my sales have gone up 30% from the previous owner.
Right on.
So
wow, nice.
So yeah, so the lounge is doing good. We're paying our customers, we're paying our employees, we're paying our taxes, we're paying our rent, and we still have a little cash left over to buy more cigars, right? So instead of me going out at PCA and trying to sell cigars this year, I'm sending my manager out there with a whole bunch of money to go buy 3 new brands. We're going to bring in 3 new brands and get them at a cheaper rate, because when you're out there, you get good prices, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get a little bit more bang for your buck. So we're going to do that, and introduce 3 more additional brands into the lounge. And on my side, I continue to, work with people like you who drop my name off someplace and say, hey, the key thing is, listen, not everybody's going to carry your sticks, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want everybody to carry your sticks. You don't, because if they're just going to sit there and they're not going to move, then
it defeats purpose.
Yeah, they sold you cigars for one. You sold your cigars one time, but that's it. And that's not what you want. You want to be able to go back to the store, have a second cutting light, sell more. And it's a process and it takes time. So So remember, these companies have big budgets. They can afford to do all that. When you're a small company, you're counting every penny because every penny counts, right? You know, I mean, you take this new brand, El Septimo, right? Beautiful brand, beautiful packaging. Man, they got millions behind them. They could do that. You know, they can afford to do that. You know, and they're competing with the big boys because some of their cigars now are $40 a cigar. Now, I'll tell you this. If I sell you a $40 cigar from Casa Caraballo, that cigar better be able to wash your car. Okay?
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, you're smoking tobacco leaf and you're smoking away $40. You know, you have to, if you're rich, that's fine. But if you're an average guy like us who, you know,
blue collar that just grinds day in, day out.
I'm not going to spend $40 on one cigar. You know what
No.
I mean? You know, so, but that's the beauty of the industry. You know, you got guys who could sell cigars for $40, and you got guys like me who sell them between 12 and 15. You know, MSRP. You know, you know. So, and by the way, I'm giving you a great cigar, and so are you giving people a great cigar, and that's the key. You know, but aside from that, you know, the industry is ruthless. You know, it's ruthless. And a lot of it is luck. You know, some people have some nice stories and people get enamored with those stories and they bring in the brand in and they hit the stars, you know. Others have great stories and they don't get anywhere. You know what I mean?
And I think that's very challenging in this industry.
You know, and guys like us, you know, we're always promoting, hey, support your veteran small business, support this, you know. A lot of the veterans don't give a shit about that either.
Nope.
You know, they don't care, you know. They don't care until it's something for them. You know what I mean? And I found that out helping other people, you know. I used to have a security company that I shut down about 3 months ago, and it was doing well. I was doing good, and then all of a sudden, business stopped. Big companies they want to do business. There's only one company that calls me every once in a while. It's like, can you help us with this? And because the guy's a former Army guy, I help him. You know, I said, okay, call these guys and do this. But you know, but when you're closing down, nobody's coming to say, hey, can I give you a hand? You know,
right.
And it's this is the way I see it, right? So millionaires take care of each other. They don't give a shit about you or me. That's just the way it is, right? And we don't expect them to take care of us because we're our own entity and we do what we do and we keep pushing. But the reason they're rich is because they all stick together and they all work on the same investments and they all talk to each other. Hey, I'm gonna dump 40 million on this. You want to join me? And they dump 80 million and then they make more money. Right? You know, I could give you 20 examples of millionaires out there who've done that. Hey, I'm gonna open up a hedge fund. You got 50 grand, throw it in there. You're gonna be rich in 5 years. You know? Well, veterans, instead of supporting each other, you know, we kind of pick who we support, right?
Correct.
Because in America, everything's about the damn greedy dollar, you know?
It is.
You know, it's not about the relationship that we have, you know. You know, I know if I go to Illinois, your house is open to me. If I go to New York, my man's house is open to me. You guys know that if you come to Maryland,
absolutely,
you don't need to stay in a damn hotel. You stay at my house. You know, that's what taking care of each other.
That's class. That's respect.
That's what taking care of each other is about. We do a shitty job of doing that, right? You know, now I'm lucky. Right. I got a whole bunch of guys on Instagram that been calling me and say, hey, where can I get your cigars? You know, I had a guy drive an hour to my house because he wanted to smoke a cigar with me. You know what I mean? And we did. You know?
I got the same one. Almost done.
Yeah, that's a good stick there. So
you know, your silverback brother is in my top 5 for sure. Listen, I love everything about it. I love the profile. I love the way it feels, the construction. I love everything about it. It's
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. And I told you that from day one. I don't push anything I don't like, and if I say something, I mean it. Meaning, I don't just every cigar I get in my hand say, "Oh, this is fantastic." I really have to like it, and my point to you is, listen, I like it. I like it a lot. It's very good.
So since we're talking about the 828, so how did the 828 get its name?
Exactly. How did it?
So
Question.
if we backtrack to when I told you I arrived in Nicaragua to do some security work, where I'm working for this British company called at the time it was NYA. Today it's called Crisis 24. It's the biggest security company in Canada. It's called Garda World. So I work with them as a security consultant, and I'm negotiating my salary as a senior consultant. There's a set salary you make, but it was too high for this mission, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't know the budget wasn't set, so they were negotiating with the customer, and there's a lot of politics and BS. So I'm on the airplane writing back, signing the contract for the mission, and so I get to Nicaragua. I still don't know what the salary is, So I sat down, I did some numbers, and I said, okay, what's the lowest number I could go and make this worthwhile for me, right? It was $828 a day. So I wrote back and I said, okay, here's my salary. If you give me $828, I'm okay, plus expenses, right? Normally, for senior consultants, anywhere between $1,500 and $3,500 a day. Okay, if you're lucky. So if you get into the industry and you land a job, you're making good money. But those are hard job positions to come by. So they settled for $828 a day. I thought I was going to be there a week. I ended up being there 3 years, in and out, in and out, in and out.
Oh wow!
Oh,
So
that's crazy.
So I took that money, and I opened up, my cigar brand. So I didn't dig into my own money. Everything was money I was earning, and I did that. And so that's the story of the 828. The cross arrows is the special forces background in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
The yoke is what the ox used to dig the ground in Cuba to plant the tobacco seed. On the left, you have the little tobacco leaves, and then on the right, you have the Cuban national bird. So that band is a little bit of everything I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I got to say, when I first tried your cigar, I'm the homework guy. I'm the geeky guy. I want to know what I'm smoking. I looked up your label and I investigated your label. The only thing I didn't know was about the 828, but everything else I Googled and found the information I was looking for. And actually, you answered that question. That was one of the questions I was going to ask today that I wanted to ask in the past, but we didn't have enough time. So thank you for answering the 828 question.
No, thank you.
Well, yeah, everything has a story, and I love that story. Yeah. It means a lot.
So
yeah.
So the 828 Silverback, it's Silverback Benjamin. So everything about the 828 has to deal with money. The shekel, the Benjamin, the Silverback coin, the 50 cents. Yep. So everything has to deal with money. So the first Silverback was a Bellicioso, which is a small, the draw was too tight and people loved it, but they were complaining that it was too tightly packed. And I got a 91 rating on that one from Stogie Press. I don't push it, but if you look up, you'll find it. So I went back to the drawing board and I said, okay, let's just make a torpedo, right? And the profile changed just a little bit, but for the better, right? And at that time, I had a lot of customers in Atlanta. And man, brothers love big gauge cigars. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what's with that fad. They all want the Gordo. They want the big, thick thing. You know, where
The one right down here, he loves that.
And you know what? That's okay.
I do.
You know, I'm not a big gauge cigar because you lose a lot of the. I mean, you have to put a lot of filler in there, right? You know, so man, they love that torpedo. And then I said, okay, now I'm gonna make it. So at first it was a limited edition. I made 1,000 boxes, and they sold like this. And when they sold, I said, okay, I'm gonna keep it as a limited edition, but regular production, right? Meaning it's always going to be available because, you know, the factory has enough tobacco for like 6 years to do that cigar. You know, the San Andres leaf, it's expensive today, so we have it in the factory, so we continue to make it, you know. And if you look at all my cigars, they carry a little Sumatra in them, right? I'm a big Sumatra guy. I changed a good profile on the cigar, so that's where that Silverback came out, and then we hit the PCA out there in not the PCA, IPR in 2019. We launched it out there, and the guys from Stogie Press stopped by and gave him a couple sticks, and unbeknown to me, Jimmy rated this cigar, evaluated it, puts out this big article like they do for all the cigars that they do. Great service he does for the industry, Stogie Press, and man, he gave it a 95.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was honestly I was expecting anywhere between 89 and 90. And when he gave it a 95, I was like, wow, you know, that's amazing. And, you know, do I really care how much that cigar is rated? Cigar is good, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, the public loves that crap, you know? Like, look at this past year's top 25 cigars, you know, for Cigar Aficionado and for all these other magazines. They're the cigars who spend the most money in those magazines.
Yeah,
that's what I cannot bring myself to paying that kind of money.
You know, I didn't pay anybody to rate my cigar. When Ash Quarterly took the risk to test my cigar, the Oscuro, and they gave it the #2 cigar for 2021. I never thought I'd get a #2 cigar for a magazine that's so prestigious and a group of people that are so professional, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, to me, that was like I was very humbled, right? Very humbled and very appreciative, right? And you tell people that's the #2 cigar for 2021, and they kind of brush it off. They don't. Are you serious? You? That cigar? Well, you know what? It is, and it's a great smoke. The Oscuro, I think you smoked the Oscuro. You love it, though. You know.
Yes, they're great.
Absolutely have. Yeah. Listen, you haven't. I've had, I think, pretty much everything that you've put out, and I have yet to find a stick that you produce that I don't like. You are just, and what I love about it is the consistency. It doesn't matter, you know, when I pick up a stick or who I get the stick from. It's very consistent,
Well,
very consistent through and through.
So, you know, everybody can make cigars, everybody can roll them, put them out there, but consistency is everything in a cigar, right? You know, and the way I stay consistent is, for example, in the factory, I have a primary team and a backup team, right? So and they're all women, by the way. I don't let men roll my cigars.
Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, they don't pay attention to detail. They're always in a rush. Where the women are always paying attention to detail, their sensory skills in their hands is perfect, you know, and they're focused, right? So the best blenders, the best rollers, in the factory. And that's what I told Papito. And when I did the Don Nello at their factory, that they wanted to come up with a cigar. And the Don Nello is an underrated cigar. That cigar is great. It's just that the name doesn't rhyme, and but those who smoked it, that Maduro, that Rosado, and that Claro, they're just amazing. All right. But what I do is I said, give me your best rollers. And then I make them roll cigars, 10 cigars each. And I inspect them. If they're different, they're not cut out to be on that team. And so the best rollers roll the 828s and the Don Nello, the same thing. When we came out with the Campana, that's a very simple cigar. It's an Habano, very simple, very smooth. The previous partner that was his idea. Hey, let's honor the women of Tampa and blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, it's a great idea. Let's do it. So we opened up there's going to be a limited edition. We did 500 boxes for that. Beautiful box. Box is expensive. So we went a little overboard on that. But it's a unique box. Nobody has that box except Casa Caraballo. And it's 10 cigars, but 10 good cigars. And, retail wholesale is $8, $80 box. For a top quality cigar, you pay $160. I've ordered cigars online from prominent cigar makers. It's $195, $200 for a box. And I've been disappointed, right? So when you have a good product, don't be afraid to market it for what it's worth.
Those are key information.
Because unfortunately, the human mind lies to you. Oh, if that cigar is only $8, it must not be good.
Oh yeah,
it has to be $16, right? And it has to have.
I think that's
Yeah,
I think that's a perception thing. People perceive when you say cheap or economical, they think that it's poor quality. You're not getting the best quality. And I think that's a society thing. I think we're all trained to believe that, and that's what people believe, is that an $8 stick can't be good as a $12 or $15 or a $20 stick. And that's not the case. I've smoked some really good $6 cigars. Really good.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know until you smoke them.
I have a friend in Esteli. He has his own little factory at his house.
Okay? Oh wow!
Yeah, he manages a factory, and then he goes home and makes cigars, right, to make extra income. So when he started out, I sat him down because he's a country boy. You know what I mean? And I said, listen, you need to do this the right way. If you're going to do this at home, you got to have the right table. You got to have the right equipment, And I helped him out, and he set it up. And he has his own little clientele all over Twitter, which is X now. And he sends 300 to Japan, 400 to a guy in Arizona, another 300 over here, and he supplements his income that way.
Mm-hmm.
If you try those cigars without a label on it, you can't tell if that's a big company cigar or this little guy making cigars in his house. Great cigars, right? Great cigars. He also worked for Papito, so he's got a good
background.
Yeah, I tell you, I have a friend who goes to Cuba all the time. He brings me back 5 or 6 cigars that are rolled on the streets. Pays $5-6 for them, and each of them is made after, for example, Bajique, Robusto Papi, great cigars. No label.
Sometimes you don't need that label.
And then you go to Miami to Calle Ocho, right there on 8th Street and 15th Avenue, and you walk by the little cigar stores there, and they have cigars from all over the Dominican Republic, no bands, and you walk in and you look at some of those sticks, and the guy goes, "That one's $18 a piece."
It's like, ay.
You know, so it's warped. The world is warped, right? When it comes to cigars, you know. By the way, that's a great brand too, Warp Cigars.
Mm.
You know, so it's one of those things where people smoke with their eyes instead of with, their taste bud, the nuance of sitting down and smoking a good cigar, right? You know,
right.
The price does not determine how good that cigar is.
No.
Agreed.
Actually, the price
Absolutely.
is false. It's a false point of view that gets put on the public.
Yeah, so
it's a selling point, you know.
So for guys like us, is you just keep grinding, right? And some of us can grind faster than others because we have the budget. You get on the road. Don't get on the road for a whole month. You're burned out.
Oh yeah.
You get. This is the formula, right? My formula. $1,900. That's the budget. I'm gonna hit the road, and hopefully I sell twice that much. I just paid for the trip and made some money, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't stay at fancy hotels. You stay at a nice hotel. You try to hit 2 or 3 stores a day, right? And you do that for a week. Then you take a week or 2 weeks off to recharge, right? And don't get depressed when nobody calls or nobody buys your cigars. I went to Baltimore on Tuesday, dropped off an order for a mobile cigar lounge, and I got to visit with the owners. Got to see the mobile lounge. They're starting out, great people. And then I stopped by a couple other stores, and really I didn't want my cigars being sold there. You know what I mean? Cigars, lounges were dirty. They were not up to standard, right?
Right.
You don't want your stuff in a place like that.
Yeah.
And,
yep. To go back, you were talking about earlier about the boutique. Us boutique or smaller guys, if you will. Number one, I'm not offended by the term boutique. I know a lot of smaller cigar companies are. They're offended by that word. I am not, because that stands out to me. And to me, boutique means it's mom and pop. It's the little guy trying to do something. So to me, that's not an offensive word. To me, that's an honorable word. But my point is, if more boutiques would get together, all these major companies out there, they started individually and they hooked up with another company and they hooked up with another company. Now all of a sudden you got this umbrella group that has this huge resource. They have resources that they can do things that other people can't do. I'd love to see boutiques do that, come together as a group and say, let's build this together as a group and make ourselves put ourselves in a position that we can go toe to toe with the big guy. The big guys out there.
The problem is nobody wants to spend money, right? So we've kind of been trying to do something like that at the BCA, but I don't feel it will ever take root because of the diverse personalities that we have. For example, 3 years ago, I talked to this engineer friend of mine who's a geek, and he's a programmer.
Okay.
So he loved my cigars, and he started getting into cigars, and so we started talking. And I go, you notice when you go buy a cigar and you hit the internet, you get all these different companies, and you try to find X cigar, and they don't have it, or they run out of it. So let's build a program when I go to look for the Pampas Rose, if X store doesn't have it, then the program will tell me these are the stores that have that cigar available.
Right.
Right. And then put everything in one network, right? Meaning in one cloud, right?
Mm-hmm.
The cigar industry is disjointed when it comes to the internet, right? It's crazy.
It's all over.
And the system they use is so antiquated. Like you go to Cigars International and all those places, when you start clicking, it's all outdated, all that. So we did the numbers, how much that would cost if we took all the cigar companies and we could build that for them. The investment was $1,000.
That's not bad.
That's worth it.
So I started reaching out to some companies, say, hey, here's the model, here's what we're going to do. None of them were interested, right?
Really?
So that's part of the problem. Innovation is not in their brain, right?
They're scared of it. Some of them are intimidated by
innovation. Is not in their brain. So we do a lot of this. We do a lot of podcasts. This is one way for me to market my stuff. Hopefully, you have 10, 20. You probably know how many people are watching your show right now. All I'm going to tell the viewers is this: hey, listen, guys, buy one cigar from me. Call me and buy one cigar. That's how it starts.
Actually, we have about 50 to 70 people that's watching right now.
So just think about it. If today 50 people call me for one cigar, right? Or let's say 15 people call, say, hey, I just want one of your cigars for sale. Okay, that's a big plus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now that person is going to enjoy a great cigar for a good price, and he's going to tell his friends. I tell you, one of my best promoters is this guy from the Black River Cigar Company.
Yes, Frank.
Yep, Frank. Yep.
So me and Frank, Frank's a former special agent at ATF. Frank's a badass, by the way. Frank did some crazy. He is. Yeah, he's a badass. He went after some really bad dudes, and he's lucky he's alive. So we know each other from past work, and me and Frank kind of hit it off. When he called me, he'll say, we spent like 2 hours on the phone mentoring each other, right? Mentoring each other. He came to my house. We sat down, we smoked the cigars, and he buys a lot of my cigars and he sells a lot of my cigars. His crowd loves 828s, and they love they love this new one, they love the Apache,
Oh, that's one of my.
If you haven't,
that's one of my favorites too.
I love the Apache.
Oh yeah.
So the Apache just got a 91 rating, okay,
Mm-hmm.
from Stogie Press. And if you haven't smoked the cigar, you're missing out on a great cigar. Okay, yeah, it's not from the big guys, it's from a little guy, but it's a great cigar. And for the price, you can't beat it.
Oh man, I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm out. I'll be placing another order, Mario. I am out.
I do not have any more. I'm out. So
I thought I had one more.
So
I'll be ordering.
So I always tell the audience, I said, you want to help the little guy out, buy one cigar. When I go to a lounge and the store buys from me after they make the purchase, if I have the cigar with me, I give it to them, right? And then once they open up a box, I'll buy 1 or 2 sticks from them and give it to a customer.
Nice.
So
Nice.
This is, I just don't give
That's
it
good
my
business.
cigar. I don't give it my cigar.
Yeah.
I buy from that store and say, here's a gift, right? You know what?
Right.
I just lost $30, right? But you know what?
You probably gained a customer.
Not only did I probably gain a customer, but when you give something away, the money is not the value. The value is what it does to you as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
How you feel about giving that away, right? You know, it's just like I tell people, man, don't talk to me about God if you're not a good person. You can't be a godly man if you're not a good man. You know what I mean?
It's
And
100%.
Absolutely.
no, hey, how
It's
could you,
true. It's
you
true.
know, you help your fellow human being, your fellow man, your fellow lady, you know? And thank God for women, man. Women are 28% of the industry now. Women are smoking cigars, you know? They don't like smooth cigars, they like strong cigars, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they're a big plus for the industry. You know, I wish I had a good female brand ambassador that could, you know, because I'll tell you this, you have a brand with a woman in it, and people just gravitate to that.
Yes, it does.
You know, it's something about them that attracts, aside from the cosmetic piece, in my opinion. But people want to know more about the cigar, right?
Yeah.
You know, so that's a big plus for the industry. But getting
People
back,
are visceral.
yeah,
Everything in humanity starts with the eyes of the touch.
yeah,
Everything that we do, everything that attracts us to people and to things are the eyes and the touch. That's the big thing. So, to your point about female ambassadors, why they're so effective is that, yes, while there are 30% of women that smoke cigars, um, there's, 80% men that smoke cigars. And there's something natural about female salespeople. There's just something about that attracts men to that. I'm not saying it's right and I'm not saying it's wrong. What I'm saying is it's just a fact of life. It's anything. It's more than cigars.
I had,
The best car salespeople I know are female.
you know why? When you ask them
Their
a question,
attention,
when they
yeah, they have an answer.
when you ask them a question about that car, they know all the specs.
Mm-hmm.
When you
Yeah,
go
they, yeah.
when you go to a male salesperson, very few of them know all the specs of that car. You know, I got lucky this week. So this week, I'm bringing the Bruja back. I don't know if you guys ever tried the Bruja.
I have not. No,
Okay,
I
so
have
I
not.
don't think I have.
but you will. You know, once I get them. So I decided that was a limited batch that I did for Halloween 3 years ago, right? A 10 count
Okay.
box, you know, and I said, hey man, I'm gonna put out a little bit. So this lady from California texts me. She goes, hey, that's a nice looking cigar, you know. How do I get them? And I said, well, I don't have them right here right now, but I'll make sure you get one. You know, send me your address and stuff. And then I went to her page, and boy, she smokes everything. You know, she's a queen. You know,
Hmm.
she's more former Marine, 15 years, badass. You know what I mean?
A
Oh
true
yeah.
a true
You know,
badass. A true
you know.
badass. Oh
And
yeah.
so I start talking to her, and she goes, "Hey, I read your webpage. I didn't realize you were a veteran." And I said, "Yeah, 22 years, blah blah blah." You know, she goes, "Hey, let me know how I could help you." And you know what? I took a deep breath and I go, "For once, somebody's actually asking if I could
How
help
can
you."
I
Right?
help you?
So you know, so I said, "You know what? Here's here's what I'm gonna do if it's okay with you. I'm gonna send you a sample pack. You take it to your local store and smoke it with them, and I'm going to send you a sample pack for you to give me your feedback aside from what the store is going to tell you, you know. And then when I get that Bruja, I'll send you a Bruja, right? You know, so she got, you know, it was $100 worth of cigars. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And just imagine if I get that one store. So I took a risk in an investment, right? And that's what happens, you know. You have to let people try your stuff and let them be your marketer out there. You've done that for me in New York, bro. You know, I didn't ask you to
Absolutely.
I didn't ask you to take that to the store. You took it out of your own heart. You went up there and said, "Hey, I've smoked these guys' cigars. They're good. He's willing to come up here and do a cut and light with you." You know, I haven't had luck of getting a hold of them, but it's still winter. So
they will. No, I'll off air. I will update you on that. Update you on that.
The thing is,
but
we don't want to do the cut and light now, anyways. It's too cold. We want to wait till a nice.
Oh yeah,
nice day, you know,
and that's what I wanted to update you on.
Yeah, and I'm already committed. You know, I'm saying, okay, I'm driving up there, and we're gonna do this up in New York. You know, I had a couple stores that used to carry my stuff, and then they kind of disappeared from the map because of my previous partner. You know what I mean? You know, so.
And just so everybody knows, I didn't even tell Mario about that. He had no idea I was doing it. I did it on my own, and to my surprise, they were open to it. And so I gave him a couple sample packs. I let them smoke it. They had the silver. They smoked the silverback so far, and the Claro, I think, is what they smoked. And he's the owner is the one. He's the gatekeeper. The owner is the gatekeeper. He's just got to go through them all, and once he goes through them all, he'll make a decision on them.
Of course.
So,
and kind of like you like all my cigars. There's people that only like the Claro, right? And the Claro, the first person who made it, I mean that cigar is full of aromatics, flowers, sweetness, coffee. I mean, that's my happy cigar. You know what I mean? Because it won't disappoint you, right? It won't disappoint.
It does not. It does not.
So when I got started, this guy in Venezuela reached out to me, and he goes, "How do I get your cigars?" And I go, "Well, man, just give me an address. I'll mail you cigars." You know what I mean? He goes, "Oh, they'll get." So I said, "You have a family member in Miami that could ship them to you?" And when you live in a foreign country, your family members are always sending you clothes, and so I sent him. I didn't know he was a big cigar aficionado, and that he actually had his webpage, and he did ratings, right? But he's very hard. He doesn't give nobody any slack. You know what I mean? And
fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Hey, everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
And he gave me an 89 on that cigar, right?
Okay.
And he wrote me. He goes, "I hope you're not disappointed. You didn't make the 90 mark." And I'm going, dude, if you make a cigar and a cigar hits 85, you're doing something right. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, and plus, not everybody has the same palate. Not everybody has the same taste buds, right? And everybody's mind works different. The key for me was that, hey, you took the time to do that, and you took maybe 3 hours of your life to write that, and you came out with an 89. To me, that's a home run.
Absolutely.
There's nothing negative about an 89. You know what I mean?
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Absolutely.
So, this is a roller coaster type of business. You're going to do good. This winter, it started off, December was one of those dead months. And then all of a sudden I get a call. "Hey, can you do a cut and light? Can you come into my store and do a cut and light?" And I said, "Okay, never tried my cigars. He wants to do a cut and light. He knows something I don't know." Okay, so I went in, sat down with the owner for 4 hours, smoked the cigars. He loved them. And then we did the cut and light. He made a lot of money that night.
Oh, wow.
Nice. So did I,
nice.
Right?
Right.
And then 3 days later, he calls me. He goes, "Send me 5 boxes." So December was dead, and all of a sudden December got on the charts, right? Right, and that triggered another store that they communicate with, right?
Oh wow.
Yeah, so December was positive. Then January started out kind of low, and then got a store up in North Suffolk, Virginia. That was a big night. Navy boys, let me tell you.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Let me tell you. So you guys,
God bless.
I think know. I consider him a brother and a partner, KJ.
Yeah.
So KJ's a former Navy chief, right?
Yeah.
Good
He's
man.
He's got his own lounge or cigar shop there, doesn't he?
No, he knows everybody in the cigar shops up there. But it appears
okay.
that
Yeah.
So KJ called all his Navy friends and says, hey, because he belongs to a fraternity. He goes, hey, I want to see you guys all at North Suffolk at 7 p.m. Dude. And these boys come in packs, right? You know, and we had a blast, you know, and the owner was happy because he made big bucks that night, right? We sold like 5 boxes to one guy who buys bulk stuff. Yeah, this guy likes to buy rare stuff and then he keeps it. So he never heard of my stuff, you know, and he enjoyed it. And he said, yeah, let me have one box of each, right? We had another guy. He likes to buy loose cigars. He bought like 15 cigars. I said, why don't you just take a box? He goes, no, I like different, you know. So, you know, I'm not selling $10,000 a month, but hey, I'm selling something, right?
Getting your name out there.
And the key
That's
is
for sure.
The key is consistency, right? We talk about consistency.
That's number one.
Just keep going. Don't get disillusioned. Don't get depressed. You know, just you keep pushing that envelope, little a little, and you never quit. You know, you never quit. And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. You know.
Now I have a question for you. So, what does a cut and light consist of for you?
Okay, so there's some companies that spend a lot of money on cutting lights because what they end up doing is they have money, they throw a party, and they give away a lot of stuff, right? And then they sell their cigars. All the customers come in, they buy cigars from the owner. You get your cut. So for me, a cut and light is simply you're asking me to come into your lounge and presenting my cigars. Of course, you're getting paid for each cigar I sell at the MSRP price that you would sell that cigar. So you get your cut, right? I present my cigars. I take some swag with me, like some hats. If I have nice T-shirts, I'll take them with me. Some people like to buy swag. I've had good luck with the hats. The people love hats. So, and I don't sell the hats at $30 or, you know, I sell them at $20, right? So I make a little bit of money, not a lot. I hand out some free stuff like cutters. When I have lighters, I give out little lighters, right? And the whole idea is for you to meet new people, market your cigars, you know, and get them to come back and buy again, right? You know, and support that local store, you know.
Right.
So I tell people, I said, hey, don't show up tonight just alone, man. If you like these cigars, you know, when you feel like buying a good, come back and buy another one from this guy, you know. Because I'll tell you, running a lounge is not easy. Okay. For example, we had Karen Berger in December in our lounge, right? You know, well, Karen Berger doesn't do anything for free. If she shows up, she's got to get paid, right? You know? But Karen Berger brings a crowd because she's famous, right? She's a queen in the industry, you know?
At least so. She earned it.
You know, yeah, her story is kind of neat, you know. She married a guy who was a icon in the industry, and sadly he passed away, and she decided instead of going back home or just retiring, she's going to carry his torch, right? and then she teamed up with AJ Fernandez, which is great for her.
Mm-hmm.
And her brand just went right,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a good cigar. It's a good cigar, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good cigar. So that's what I try to do with a cut and light. Show up, promote the cigar, promote the lounge, get people to come back. You know, get people to call me, say, hey, I have a lounge in this area. They want to talk to you, and they do a lot of the promotion for you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and you also have to be kind to your retailers. For example, there's some towns where you have a store every 3 miles, right? Well, you know, if you're selling to John and Mike is down the road, you can't put them against each other with competition. You know what I mean?
No.
You gotta pick one or the other. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, we just had our first cut and light at Park Lane, and
Yes.
my first one ever. I had no idea what I was doing, and I just kept it for me. I just kept it simple. I basically just told everybody, I'm here with a brand new cigar. Here's the background on it. Here's our background. Here's the cigar. Here's what Here's what they're of. Here's where they come from, and try them. I just want you to try them. I want your honest feedback. And I literally sat there. The cut and light was from 6 to 8, and
Mm-hmm.
the lounge closed at 9, and I didn't leave until 10 because people just had questions, and I just sat down with everybody. Smoked a cigar with them. We talked about the cigar. I also asked them about them and who they are, and kind of just build up a little bit of rapport. Now, granted, I knew them from the lounge members, but the front half of the store were just people walking in off the street, and they had no idea there was a cut light going on.
Yeah.
So I was kind of bouncing back and forth between lounges, and we sold all but 6 of the what do we have? 2 bundles? Yeah, we had 2 bundles. All but 6 of the 2 bundles, and then the 6 sold the next day. People came back and bought the rest of them out.
No, yeah. You know,
So
I tend to, you have a cut and light for 2 hours, 3 hours, and then people split, right? Like I don't split. I stick around, smoke with the guys.
Yep.
Get to know them, talk to them, and just to build new relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, I don't know if Park Lane has their house blend.
They do.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? Park Lane.
It's by Martinez. It's called the Bonaquisti, and the Bonaquisti is the last name of the shop.
I was going to say, if they don't, Park Lane is a great name for a house blend. You know what I mean?
It is.
And
you're right.
Yeah.
Too bad they already have one, because I would love to make one for them. But they could still come out with a Park Lane. You know what I mean?
Sure they can, absolutely.
They
actually, Martinez is coming up. I think this month. Park Lane or Martinez is coming up for another rolling event. They're going to come do a rolling event and cut light. So
yeah. So Havana Castle has a street blend, right? And they're not long filler, short filler.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So we came up with the back street, main street, right? They sell like crazy, because in Canada a cigar is $30, dude.
Easily.
Yeah.
I mean,
easily.
So with Marco from Caballero Cigars, Dominican cigar. Marco's a great guy, by the way, and
yes, he is.
He good man, down to earth. He owns his own factory. He's very well off in the sense that he's got his own factory. He's got his new brand, Caballeros, good cigars, and he owns Hemingway Cigars in Canada.
Okay.
And he
Toronto.
He wants my brand up there, but in Canada, when you ship stuff, it can't have the band. It's got to have a natural green and white band that says. So you gotta put it over that. You can't send the cigars in boxes, right? You gotta send them in boxes. Then the boxes have to go separately. You know, this is what, when government is not effective, they try to ruin a small industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Canada is that type of country. Israel is the same way, right? You know, and people say, well, you know, kids can afford cigars. You know, well, yeah, they can. They buy expensive clothes. They can afford a cigar. But the thing is, kids are not going to smoke a cigar. They're going to vape. You know,
Mm-hmm.
or they're going to smoke
Yeah,
pot.
it's,
You know,
yeah. They,
and
you know, the government feels like they're trying to protect children, but the reality is, listen, I was a kid once. You know, I had an uncle that smoked cigars. I had no interest in it. None.
listen, here,
None whatsoever.
government shouldn't be worried about my kids. That's my responsibility.
Exactly.
If I need government to worry about
Exactly.
my kids, I should be locked up in jail. Why? Because I'm not a responsible parent. You know what I mean?
Very true.
You know, it's just like all
Mm-hmm.
this bullshit with social media, kids. You know, hey, when I handed my kids a cell phone, I said, "This is what you're gonna do in that cell phone. If I catch you outside that scope, you won't have a cell phone anymore." You know,
Good.
it's
Good. That's the way it should.
it's that
But,
simple. You know,
yeah.
you don't need
That,
government to
yeah.
tell you to censor you. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and unfortunately, countries like Israel, like Canada, I mean, in Israel, the taxes are just crazy. Uh, Eris cigars. I don't know if you heard of him. Eris,
Mm-mm.
Slumlord cigar. Uh, he took my cigars to Israel, and they sold. You know, but they stay in customs like 2 or 3 months.
Holy
The,
smokes.
the taxes are so high, right? Uh, that they make it impossible for people to have a small business and bring cigars in. You know, the EU is the same way. The EU, you know, you got to register your brand. You have to do this. If it's shipped from the U.S., you get additional tariffs. So you can't ship it from the U.S. because you lose money. You got to ship it from countries like Nicaragua and Dominican Republic. You know, and then they import Cuban cigars like crazy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
All day long.
But people can't afford them. Only the
Mhm.
rich people can smoke those cigars. It's just like in China. Goddamn,
They're
Cohiba is costing
expensive in China. They're expensive in China.
$200 for a Cohiba.
Yeah.
Are you out of your mind? You know? So uh, China has high taxes too, like 40 something percent for importing cigars. I mean, it's just
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
It's crazy. So you know, it's I call it a swamp. The cigar industry is a swamp. You know, if people think Washington D.C. is a swamp, you haven't been to Washington D.C. You know, Washington D.C. is a Cadillac compared to the cigar industry. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I commend you, Mario, on all your hard work and the things that you do. A lot of people don't get to see what you do behind the scenes. And the reason why I
Oh
brought that up
no,
is I
thank you.
wanted to say thank you for
No,
you back the Compass Rose, not only the Compass Rose, but the True North Foundation.
no.
That means a lot.
Thank you guys too. You know, for just being my friends, right? That's more important than any cigar or any. You know,
100%.
the fact that we know each other
100%. 100%.
and we have that camaraderie and that friendship. You know, we have a lot in common. You know, we're all veterans.
Yes,
We
sir.
all walked some of the same paths. You know,
Mhm.
and we found each other here. You know, and like it goes back to what I said that you know, it's not what you give that's important. It's how you value what you're giving, right? And some people it's all about money, and others it's about how it makes you feel as a human being, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you
Yeah.
know, there's nothing wrong with helping somebody else anytime. You know what I mean?
And
And
Mm-hmm.
I value you as a friend.
same here, man.
Absolutely.
Cigar is just a
Absolutely. Listen, I love the fact that Mario, I can ask, you know, if I have a question, I know I can call you or text you or message you on Instagram, and I know that you will get back to me. Like, it may take you a day or two to get back to me, but I know you will, and I know you're a reliable source that I can go to because we are friends. I consider you a friend. I consider Scott a friend. And I know we haven't met in person and it's just strictly been on Instagram, but I get, I don't know. I just have this feeling when I know somebody's, true to me, is a friend to me, I gravitate towards them. And I gravitated towards you immediately. And I go back when you didn't know me from anybody. And last year I did the Cigar for Warriors fundraiser. You were the first person I reached out to, and instantly you didn't ask any questions. You said, yes, where can I send stuff to? That was your very first response to me. And I can't tell you how much that meant to me to be able to have, just someone not believe, to have someone to believe in me and know that my intentions were good and that I wasn't out to scam anybody or do anybody malicious harm or anything like that. Like I was there to help veterans. And I believed in the Cigar for Warriors. You believed in the Cigar for Warriors, and you
Like
instantly said yes. So I
you like
appreciate you. I always will.
you like my ashtray?
I like
I
that.
do. I love it. I love it.
No, listen
I
here,
love
man.
it.
It's all about in my world. I'm a very giving person. That's one of my faults, right? And going back to what I told you about the industry, right? People don't know how to close the loop, and we in the military we learn how to close the loop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
You follow up,
Correct.
you make sure it's done, you report, right?
Correct.
So we have a different process structure where, I've written over 200 retailers. Not one has responded back. These are guys
Wow.
who are at the PCA with me, who smoke my cigars, who blew a lot of smoke up my ass. And then when it's
Shame
time,
on them.
and then when it's time to ring the bell,
They're
I
not
don't
there.
want you. You don't have to buy my cigars. Just tell me you're not interested or whatever.
Right.
Hey,
Right.
It's not the right one. I understand all of that.
You don't hurt my
Mhm.
feelings.
But the common courtesy of talking to somebody else and say, hey, I got your email, because I don't know if that email went into the stratosphere or if they actually got it and just erased it, right? God knows. It's irrelevant. The thing is, following up, if you ask for help, you're asking for a reason. I don't need to know that reason. I just need to know, okay, give him the answer that he needs, whether it's the one he wants to hear or not,
Mhm.
So I see there's a guy on Instagram. He's an older guy, real nice gentleman, and this guy is always trying to help veterans by doing the cigars for veterans type stuff, right? And I remember the first time he wrote to me. I didn't have any cigars here, and they were in transit. I sent him $50. I said, "Here, man, buy $50 worth of cigars." You know what? That guy wrote back to me, and you can see it in his writing, right? How humble he was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And then second time, he writes back, and I said, "Hey, can you help out this year?" And I send him something, And then this year we're talking, and I said, "Hey, man, I haven't neglected you. I just haven't had time for you, but I'm going to send you something this week." So I had cigars in my humidor from all the brands that I've been aging there, right? And he got the best of my stock too. I sent him about 50 cigars, right?
Oh wow. Wow. Nice.
And you know what? He's going to send those to some soldier who's out in Syria, who's in Iraq,
Mhm.
Or some Navy guy on a ship, or some Air Force guy on an air base in England and wherever the hell they're at. And,
Mhm.
that one soldier is going to smoke, or sailor or Marine is going to smoke that one cigar. And for 30 minutes or 1 hour, that soldier's going to find peace.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mhm.
What better gift than that?
It's amazing. It's amazing. Listen, I couldn't believe sorry to cut you off, but I got to share a quick story. I sent my son a care package. He's in the Air Force in Germany right now. I sent him a care package. I didn't know if he would like anything that was in it. I put some cigars, a cutter, a lighter, and I put a book in there and some like beef jerky, just a little care package, and sent it off to him. He immediately, the moment he got it, he was like, "Dad, this is amazing. Thank you so much for sending that." He goes, "I'm sharing it with my buddies right now."
Yeah.
Like I never knew what a care package meant to them. Listen, when I served, it was always in the States. So I didn't have that experience of longing for home and longing for, stuff from home and all that.
Well, it's a
He,
different
he,
generation. It's a different
yeah,
generation.
he's been there for 3 years and he
Yeah.
doesn't get care package. So when he got that, he was very appreciative. My point is, I'm reinforcing what you had said, that what that guy does and what so many people do for the veterans and cigars for warriors and stogies for servicemen. Those care packages matter, and like you said, it gives them a half hour to an hour of pure peace where they're just taking care of themselves and they're just relaxing and unwinding and getting away, getting out of their heads of everything that they're going through. So I commend your friend there, and I commend you because, like I said, you're an amazing person, and I truly mean that. From day one, you supported me, and vice versa. I have been one of your biggest supporters, and always will be.
And same
Same
here,
with
man.
Scott. Scott knows that too. With Scott, I wouldn't have been part of the True North Foundation or the Compass Rose if I didn't believe in either him, the company, the cigar company, or the foundation. I appreciate both of you guys, and I want you guys to know it, and everybody that's watching, please know that I'm the same way. I'm a giver too. That's how someone dubbed my name. I didn't give myself the name, the cigar tender. I was at my home lounge multiple occasions. Somebody came in, saw a cigar smoking. Without saying it, I could tell they weren't in a situation where they could purchase the cigar they wanted. I went in the humidor on multiple occasions and purchased a cigar for multiple people. And one of them said to me, "Wow, look at you. Aren't you just a cigar tender?" And that's kind of how I got my name because I do that. And it's out of the kindness of my heart. I expected nothing in return. I still expect nothing in return. It's just the look on their face and them sitting there enjoying a cigar and getting away for 30, 40, 50 minutes by themselves just to smoke that cigar. If they want to talk, I talk with them. If they don't, I leave them in peace so they can enjoy their cigar. It's that simple.
That's it, man. That's what's important, and hopefully we can continue to support you guys, and whenever we can, we do. And of course, you just gotta poke me. Hey, don't forget. Because for a small brand like ours, every morning you wake up and okay, I have my training schedule, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the schedule of the day. It's either shipping, it's either reaching out to somebody, driving out somewhere and meeting new people. Like March, I had nothing on my calendar, and then I get a call from a guy in Macon, Georgia. He goes, "Hey, can you come out here and have a house party?" I said, "I could do that, but get your local tobacconist to buy the cigars from me, and then you buy them from them, right? Because of the wholesale license thing and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to mess around. You want to, So I got. So now I'm going to take advantage of that trip and go visit some of the other stores that I had on the calendar, but it was in June, July, So and then March is going to be a tough month for everybody because all the retailers are starting to get all their back orders from last year to now. Mm-hmm. And then the PCA is next month. Well, this month, so there's not going to be a lot of sales going on there, because people are tight with money,
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
It's part of the business, it's little roller coaster, and the key thing is, I keep telling people, yo, this is boutique. Call it whatever you want, boutique, non-boutique. This is a premium cigar.
Absolutely is.
That's the bottom line. It's a premium cigar.
It's a premium cigar. It's made with a lot of tender, loving care. Consistency. My fermentation process is not rushed. And we put out a good product. A good product, and
absolutely, absolutely agree.
This week, finally, so this is a success story. There's this vodka called City Lights vodka, brand new vodka that owned by a African American lady who's a PhD, and she's a brainchild, and she always wanted to do her vodka, and so she's down in Atlanta area, right? And she calls me like a year ago and says, "Can you make my cigar?" And I said, "Well, come to my house. Let's sit down, because you want to talk business. I don't want to talk on the phone." So she came here, and I had all these blends that are not even out yet, right? They're just blends that I make, and I store them for maybe the right moment,
Okay.
So we went. It was about 5 blends that she chose blend number 7. So she's getting her batch this week.
Awesome.
Yeah. And she couldn't afford 10,000 cigars. So I made her 2,000 cigars. Because that's what she could afford, and I didn't rip her off.
Cool.
I didn't rip her off.
Very cool. Mm-hmm.
I didn't charge her $4 a cigar or $5 a cigar. I explained to her how the process works. This is what a cigar costs, then the shipping, then the boxing, then import taxes, then how you have to pay the taxes once you get them. Then you add all that up, and I explained. She didn't realize how expensive it is, right?
Yeah.
So when somebody says you got to order 100,000 cigars, it's just crazy. I was looking at a page the other day from a manufacturer down in Nicaragua who's associated with AJ Fernandez. Beautiful webpage. They make great cigars. And in his website, he goes, if you want to order from me, you got to order 100,000 cigars. How much business do you think he's gotten in the last year?
That's freaking absurd. That's too much.
I can't imagine that much.
How much business do you think he's gotten?
Not a whole heck of a lot. Almost.
I bet he hasn't gotten one order. But if he would do like 5,000, 3,000, I'm sure he'll get 5, 6, 7 orders. That adds up, right?
Yeah, it does.
So it's how you play your business model, right? I believe in incremental progress, right?
Correct. Yep.
And she gave those cigars to some other people who are interested. And I sat down with them and I told them, if you don't have the money, don't do it, because you're going to waste your money. You just have a lot of cigars sitting around,
Correct.
I did a cigar for a company that they wanted to give boxes away for Christmas, right? A trucking company, And,
Okay.
And he wanted 5,000 boxes, right? So I said, okay. Went down to Texas, sat down with him. We smoked them. We did a nice box, with his company logo on it. Made a nice band, cheap band, so he didn't have to spend a lot of money, but a nice band, right?
Yeah.
And he gave away to all his truckers and a company employees. You know what I mean?
Very cool.
I never say no to those opportunities.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm not making a lot of money, but I'm making a little change.
Sure. And that's what it's about. It's about creating longevity not trying to hit a grand slam right off the bat, but building consistency, getting your name out there, getting the brand out there, getting people to know your product, and then eventually down the line, it's going to be on cruise control. You're going to be,
The Apache,
brother. I
the,
love that cigar. I
the Apache,
love that cigar.
the Apache was smoked by a Kansas City Chiefs coach
Nice,
during the Super Bowl,
nice.
and he loved it, right? And sadly, he didn't call in time to get him into the
For the
Super Bowl,
team.
and they won, right?
Yep.
But here's how the world works, right? So my home is doing a project, and guess who ended up with that project? My son.
Oh wow,
Awesome.
fantastic.
My son is a designer in LA. He designs digital media, clothing, all kinds of stuff. He's into everything. And
Very cool.
so that's a big win.
Absolutely.
Not for me, but for my son,
Yeah, absolutely.
Based on one cigar,
That's fantastic.
So
Good for you, man. Good for your son.
incremental
Absolutely,
success,
100%.
incremental success, a little bit at a time,
Exactly.
and make it homegrown, like here in Maryland, a lot of the lounges are not cigar lounges. They're basically hip hop clubs. You take their cigars, they buy them one time, and then they don't buy them again. You walk into the humidors, very few shops have a good abundance of cigars. The humidors are neglected, right? You have maybe 30 facings instead of 100, right? And so it's a hard market here in Maryland. Virginia is totally the opposite. The stores are world stock. They have a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's no different in New York, man. It's really tough unless you're an established cigar shop lounge that has been around for years. Everybody else, their inventory is very minimal. Their selection is very minimal. It's one of the challenges in my home lounge of getting new brands in there, because not only is the owner set, but the customers are set. The folks that have been in that lounge since they've opened smoke the same thing. They don't smoke anything different. So
New
that's
York,
the challenge. That's a challenge of getting something new in there. So when I got Scott Cigar in there, number one, I was stunned. It was a year and a half of trying to get that cigar in there. And then one day I kept at it, like you said, consistency. I walked in and they said, "Yup, the owner smoked it, loved it." And yes, the answer is yes. And I was like, wait a minute, what just happened? I couldn't believe I actually got the cigar in there. And then we did a little negotiating, and boom, next thing you know, the cigar is in there. So
yeah.
I'm doing the same with you. Be patient. It's going to take me some time,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
we'll get you in there.
This is a great example. New York is a great example of all the retailers in New York getting together and having an advocate in the New York Senate and legislature to go up there and talk to them. Why are cigar taxes so high in New York? Right? They're not making any money out of that.
Nope.
Right.
Because the taxes are so high.
Right.
Minnesota was the same way. Minnesota had a senator who lobbied for cigars, and they lowered their taxes to 15% from 50 something, right? Well, the retailers are selling more cigars now. So they're making more money because more taxes are going into the coffers, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And New York needs to do the same thing,
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
But it's all politics, It's all politics, and sadly, politicians don't know half the stuff that they should know. When they vote for stuff, they don't read the bills.
Nope, they don't.
It's all,
Yep.
I call it negligence.
It is. Absolutely. Agreed.
Just call it negligence. But hey,
Mm-hmm.
you just gotta keep pushing. Keep pushing. So
Agreed.
yeah. Here we are,
Yep.
Saturday
Here
morning,
we are.
drinking coffee and smoking
Having a
Compass Rose.
very fantastic cigar. I'm smoking the Claro. Where is
That
it?
Claro's
Let me see.
nice. Yeah, I love that Claro. Yeah,
That's the one I'm smoking. I had a silverback earlier.
yeah. I'm still with my silverback here. That
I'm
Compass Rose.
still with my silverback, and I'm
Compass
good. That's
Compass
why
Rose.
I've been quiet, because I've been enjoying it.
Compass Rose was good too. I like that.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Nice. Yeah. Nice.
Especially of your standard and all that. For you to say it's a good cigar, that means,
Oh,
again, that means a
I
lot.
mean, we know who makes it. He makes good cigars.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
You can't take anything away from him. You know what
Absolutely not. I give him all the credit in the world and everybody in the factory. They did an amazing job.
I mean, he's a good guy. He's in the bundle industry, which is really hard, right? Really hard. He has to hustle every day to make that paycheck, make that paycheck. And but his factory makes some good cigars.
Now I have a question. So we have an upcoming event here in Indiana. I'm gonna extend the invitation to Casa Caraballo to hopefully come out and be a part of it, whether you sponsor, whether you donate, whatever it may be. We would love to have you there. It's our second annual charity golf event. My foundation is also partnered up with John Daly, Major Ed Heart of a Lion Foundation. Major Ed, John Daly will be here, PGA Golf Pro, having a great time. But again, it's about veterans' mental health, homelessness, and our first responders.
So
that's the goal.
So listen here. Thank you for the invitation, and let me know, the timeline. And what we could do is we could show up, we could set up a table, we could sell cigars, right? And then we could donate to that foundation also, right?
Fantastic.
Last year I did Cigars for Baseball. I don't know if you know that event. It's in Minnesota. They help underprivileged kids, right, and kids with disabilities play baseball.
Nice. Very cool.
So they'll buy an X amount of cigars for, a couple of dollars, So you're not making any money on that, but you're helping these disabled kids enjoy the game of baseball, right?
Awesome.
What a better gift than that, right? These poor
kids. That's fantastic.
Who don't have the resources, or they have a certain disability, and you're paying for them to be coached and mentored and, do something that all kids should do, right? Play baseball, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Any sport.
So we could do that. And if you want to bring another brand up there, I could talk to a couple of my friends and say, hey, you want to come up there and,
Yeah. The more I can't speak for Scott, but
we could
being on the board of the foundation, the more the merrier.
Let me know how I can help you with that. I would definitely love to come up and showcase the cigars, and then golf tournaments usually are pretty good. People buy a lot of stuff.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Here's the thing. I live on the golf course. I'm on the 16th hole. So I can sell my cigars right over the fence. I do all day long. It's really a lot of fun. But the big thing is we're having Indianapolis Colts. They're going to help sponsor the charity event. I have Chris Denert of Dugout Mugs. He makes my beer mugs for me, made out of baseball bat.
Nice.
Hopefully he's gonna be there golfing. Look, again, it's for the bigger picture, like the Indianapolis Colts. They're offering, you get a box suite where we get to bring underprivileged kids out, meet and greet the players.
That's nice.
Get to sign autographs for the day.
Very cool.
And also
be awesome.
Be a part of the football game. But the good thing is that my foundation gets the opportunity of being part of the flag ceremony. So we'll be on TV.
Yeah. When is that going to be taking place?
The event is June 14th through the 16th.
Yeah.
The 14th is the pre-show, and that's where we're gonna probably gonna be. I'm gonna be looking at getting the hangar, which is a real big hangar, cruise museum hangar, and all that, to where we get guest speakers where Major Ed, John Daly, and also Darren McBurnett, which is former Navy SEAL, and he does the annual Bone Frog of Uncommon Grit Foundation. He's also going to be there signing books and autographs.
Oh, that's nice.
So we're going to put on a pre-show.
Yep. We're working on I'm trying to lock in Andrew Thorpe King. He does his book Failure Rules. I'm trying to get him there so he can do his book signing. We're working on a whole bunch of, I mean, this is going to be bigger than last year. Last year was huge. This is going to be off the chart. So anybody watching this, I'm telling you want to be a part of it. It's going to be mind-blowing how much fun this is going to be.
Well, here's the goal. Just a little bit, just to tell you, Mario, it's more or less about bringing, okay, you have PCA, BCA, all that other stuff. Bring some boutique cigar vendors together and all that, but working together for a better cause. And what I mean by that is for the veterans, mental, all that, bringing in first responders, underprivileged kids, for youth programs. It's for the right reasons.
So let me give you a hint. This is a business hint. Let's say that hypothetically, Baltimore courts buy 5,000 cigars. They buy it at wholesale, reasonable price, and then those are handed out.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other way is for us to show up and just sell it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for you, since you're the organizer, it's easier when you get these organizations to go ahead and say, all right, I'm going to put down $2,000. And then you buy $1,500 worth of cigars. And then $500 goes to the foundation. $1,500 bought for cigars. Then they're handed out, right, to all the people that show up. So the people who show up to the show get a ticket. And then they come up to the Compass Rose table. They hand the ticket. Compass Rose hands them a cigar.
Oh, I like that idea. Yeah.
Something to think about.
That's definitely something to chew on. Absolutely.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm trying to put out at the pre-event, which will be held on the Friday with everybody, with the speakers and a lot of bigger tables to be able to set up.
And then you raffle. And then you raffle boxes, right?
Exactly. It's going to be a lot of different raffles. Major Ed, he's throwing in a golf bag.
Yeah. So let's say Caraballo, you need to come up with 3 boxes for raffling, right? In addition to the 800 cigars we're going to buy from you, right? Stuff like that. That'll get you more money for your foundation. Just something to think about.
That's what I'm working on. And also I'm teaming up with ICANN, which is Service Dogs for Vets.
Great. Sounds good, man.
So a lot of different organizations that are all teaming up and being a part of it. Because again, it's for that ultimate goal.
Yeah. Send me the info so we could start planning for this, right?
Absolutely.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
Fantastic. Awesome. Love to have you.
Yeah.
And it will be excellent to see in person.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully you can be there.
And hopefully you could get some of the local retailers also to kind of come and see the brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
You'll see the brand.
Absolutely.
Well, I have a couple of Copper Canyon, Rudy's Cigar Lounge. So yeah, I'm trying to bring them all in.
Yeah, it'll be a success. Yeah, definitely.
I'm excited about it, but again, it's
absolutely
and supporting each other where it should be.
Yeah, but get those big companies that have money to donate, right?
And this is the time too, because this is the time, everybody's doing taxes right now. They want to unload a little bit of money to lower their tax burden. This is the time to do it too.
Hey,
Get right.
dude, Jeff Bezos unloaded $100 million to the chef, right? You know, Don Andres, right?
Yeah.
To feed the world, right? Right?
Yeah.
Great cause.
It is a great
Absolutely.
cause.
$100 million.
Just
Yeah.
like that.
You think
Drop of
Amazon?
a hat.
You think Amazon felt that?
Yeah.
Amazon didn't feel a thing. You know what I mean?
Not a thing. Not
I
a
mean,
thing.
They basically
They didn't
ran.
even touch them.
They basically ran every mom and pop business out of business in the United States.
Pretty
you know?
much.
You know, but hey,
Yes, they did.
That's capitalism. You know,
That's capitalism at its best.
At
That's
its
what it is.
finest.
Yeah, at its finest. You know.
But again, thank you again for being on the show. And again, I wanted to hear your story, and so that other people can hear your story and what it means, and how hard and difficult and how fun it can be.
Yeah.
If
Well,
you
it's a
do
lot
it
of
for the right reasons.
it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of heartache. It's a lot of uncertainty. It's a lot of hard work. And if you're doing it just for the money,
Wrong reasons.
well, you know, you need a lot of money to make it to the top fast, right? El Septimo is a great example of that. You know, this is a brand that's only been around for a couple of years, and they're there with the big guys because they have a lot of money. They have national reps, they have sales. You know, they put out a very nice product, packaging, all that costs money. You know,
It's not free.
Little wooden box, right? Anywhere between $6 and $10, right? Now, I wish we didn't use wood. I wish we used cardboard, right? Dominican Republic does a good job on that. They make nice hard cardboard cigar boxes. Where in Nicaragua, that industry has not reached there yet. You know, so everything in Nicaragua is wood.
They're working on it.
Yeah. So, I mean, a good box making company can make a lot of money in Nicaragua. I mean, a lot of money. There's one Spanish company there that they spent a good chunk of money in making everything automated and top of the line with technology. And I mean, they're swamped. They're the only game in town. No competition, except the mom and pop little cigar box makers. You know. So, but wood is so expensive today that you can't get cheap wood. You know.
No.
Yeah. And if you're making boxes, you gotta have boxes. You know.
Absolutely.
So, what would you have to say to the public audience and all that, or that means a lot to you?
You know, of course, life means a lot to me, considering the past 2 years. You know, I had stage 4 cancer. I survived. So, you know, waking up in the morning and being grateful, no matter how much you have, don't
always be gratitude. Yep, always have gratitude.
Don't lose faith. And when I say faith, it's not a religious type faith, because that's important also for some people. But don't lose faith on yourself, right? Always have a positive mindset. If you wake up with a positive mindset, 90% of your day is going to be positive. If you wake up with a shitty attitude, you're going to have a shitty life. You know what I mean?
It's true. It's true.
And look.
Amen.
Look at what's around you, and then look beyond that, how bad it is, right? And then you get to appreciate what you have, right? And you know, man, love your neighbor, man. Love your friends, love your neighbor. Be good to human beings. You know, do good. You do good every day. Good comes back to you somehow. It may not be right away, but it comes back to you. You know, and stay humble. No matter how many arrogant people are out there, which we know there's millions of them, always remain humble and remain true to yourself. If you do that, no matter what it is you do, you're going to be successful.
That's I appreciate it. Those are very honest and
Wise,
truthful words right there.
wise words. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Everybody should take heed to them. Absolutely.
So,
Well, go ahead.
life is good, man. I tell people, if you wake up in the morning, life is good. You know,
It is.
Life
I
is
do
good.
it day in, day out.
So just be grateful for. Look, man, we live in the greatest country in the world. All right, America is not fucked up like people think it is. America, everybody wants to come here. I wonder why.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I wonder why everybody wants to come to the great United States. Because if you make it to this country, you have an opportunity. Now it's up
That's
to
all
you.
you can ask for. Yep.
It's up to you to grab it and do good with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if we move to Nicaragua today, or Dominican Republic, or Colombia, if you don't have money, you're gonna sweep the floor the rest of your life. In America, you could start sweeping the floor, and in a year, own the damn company.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. Amen.
You know what I mean?
Greatest nation on the planet.
That's it.
Absolutely.
And we're not perfect.
Nope.
We're
Nope.
not perfect. We could take care
A lot better.
Yeah, we could take care of Americans a lot better. Our people, right? But that's the experiment, man. We're still trying to figure it out.
Absolutely.
God bless.
And
Amen.
This is like I say, I'm blessed every morning. I wake up and my sons grew up in a free world. Where I grew up in oppressive environment half of my life, and then I came and had a great life in these great United States. So, to me, it's sentimental. It means a lot to me. Patriotism.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Flag waving is bullshit. That doesn't make you a patriot.
Right.
Nope.
What makes you a patriot is what you do every day for your fellow man, your neighbor, right, and then for your country.
Amen.
And
Amen.
if you're a good person, that's all you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Don't shit on people.
It's that easy.
Don't shit on people.
Listen.
Don't abuse people. Don't take advantage of people. Be good to people and be humble. And that's my philosophy.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Wise words. Wise words.
And smoke good cigars.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
With great friends.
With great friends. With great friends. Absolutely.
The only thing missing here is we're not in the same room, and we're not having a good cognac.
Yeah.
And my friend, that will happen. We will all get together very soon. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I can't believe we've been talking for about 2 hours now.
2 hours now. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great, man.
Yeah. I could talk the rest of the day, but I know everybody got stuff to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know we all got stuff to do.
So whatever you do, Mario, do not leave the show and all that. I'm just gonna end the live stream. But again, thank you so much for being on.
Yeah.
And freaking all your advice, and I have the utmost respect for you and everything that you have done. So with your fight through cancer, your patriotism to our country, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Hey, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Nice 2 hours spent this Saturday morning.
Absolutely.
It stopped raining, so that's good.
That's a good thing. That's a good message right there. It tells you something. Today's a good day.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll be right back once you do your thing.
Okay. All righty.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks, Mario.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mario.
Well, there you
My gosh, I every time we talk with him, it just gets better and better.
Of course, that's
better
how
and better.
it works.
What a great conversation today. I had fun.
So. I always have fun. I was just sitting here enjoying a damn good cigar from the man. I love everything about it.
Listen, this is my 4th of the day, and it's what time is it? 1 o'clock.
Jesus criminy, man.
I know. I can't help it. I'm a junkie.
But anyway, I want to say thank you to everybody who watched and all that, and hopefully you got something. If you have more questions, please ask. Don't hesitate. jump on the show, ask comments. You can find it on our YouTube, which is True North 799. Go check it out, subscribe. Hey, you learn something every week. With that being said, OG, anything you'd like to say?
Just all right. OG out.
God bless everybody and have a fabulous Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.